Imagine a day when the world as we know it ends. A massive asteroid hits the Earth. Nuclear war spreads radiation across the planet. The oceans boil and the skies turn dark. Most life on Earth would disappear. Forests would burn. Cities would collapse. Entire ecosystems would vanish. But something strange would happen. Some creatures would survive, not just for a few days. They could survive the apocalypse itself. The question is, which creatures would become the last survivors on Earth? Because this planet has already faced the end of the world many times before. In fact, Earth has experienced 5 mass extinction events. One of them wiped out the dinosaurs. Another destroyed nearly 95% of all life in the oceans. Entire branches of evolution disappeared forever. Yet, after every extinction, some creatures remained. They endured fire, ice ages, asteroids, and volcanoes. They adapted, they survived, and today, scientists are trying to understand why. Because if we understand these creatures, we might learn how life survives the most extreme conditions imaginable. And maybe one day, that knowledge could help humans survive beyond Earth. So, let's start with one of the most famous survivors of disaster, the cockroach. Cockroaches have existed for more than 300 million years. That means they lived long before the dinosaurs appeared. They survived asteroid impacts, supervolcano eruptions, ice ages, and mass extinctions. Cockroaches are incredibly resilient. They can survive without food for a month. They can even live for a week without their heads. This sounds impossible, but the reason is surprisingly simple. Cockroaches don't breathe through their mouths like we do. Instead, they breathe through tiny openings in their bodies called spiracles. Even without a head, their bodies can continue to function for days. Cockroaches can also tolerate radiation far better than humans. In a nuclear disaster, many insects would likely outlive us, but despite their reputation, cockroaches are not the ultimate survivor. There are creatures far tougher, far stranger, and far more ancient. One example lives deep in the freezing waters of the Arctic, the Greenland shark. This mysterious predator moves slowly through the dark ocean. But its most incredible ability is time itself. Greenland sharks can live for centuries. Scientists have discovered individuals that may be 400 years old. That means some sharks swimming today were already alive when Galileo studied the stars. Their extremely slow metabolism helps them resist aging. Their bodies operate like a slow-burning engine. But even these ancient giants have limits. They can't survive extreme radiation. They can't survive the vacuum of space. And they can't survive the most brutal environments on Earth. But something else can. Before we reach that creature, we need to travel to one of the harshest places on the planet, hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. Here, the pressure is crushing. The water is filled with toxic chemicals. Temperatures can exceed 100 degrees Celsius, yet life exists here. Microbes known as extremophiles thrive in these environments. Some bacteria survive boiling heat. Others survive powerful acid. Some even survive radiation levels that would kill humans instantly. These organisms show us that life is far more adaptable than we once believed. But even extremophile bacteria are not the champions of survival, because scientists once performed a shocking experiment. They exposed a tiny organism to conditions that should destroy life instantly. Temperatures close to absolute zero. Extreme heat above 150 degrees Celsius. Radiation thousands of times stronger than what humans can survive. And even the vacuum of outer space, the researchers expected it to die immediately. But it didn't. The creature survived. The organism is called a tardigrade. Many people know it as the water bear. Tardigrades are microscopic animals, smaller than a grain of sand. They live in moss, soil, fresh water, and even the deep sea. At first glance, they look harmless, tiny bodies, stubby legs, slow movements. But their survival abilities are almost unbelievable. Tardigrades can survive temperatures from negative 272 degrees Celsius to over 150 degrees. They can endure crushing pressure 6 times stronger than the deepest ocean trenches. They can survive radiation that would instantly destroy human DNA. And in 2007, scientists sent tardigrades into space. They were exposed directly to the vacuum of space and cosmic radiation. When the experiment ended, many of them were still alive. How is this possible? The answer lies in a biological state called cryptobiosis. When the environment becomes too harsh, a tardigrade shuts down almost completely. It removes nearly all the water from its body. Its metabolism slows to almost zero. It curls into a tiny, dried capsule. In this form, it can remain inactive for years, even decades. When water returns, the tardigrade rehydrates and comes back to life. Even more incredible, scientists discovered that tardigrades produce special proteins that protect their DNA from radiation damage. These proteins act like molecular shields, preventing the destruction of genetic material. This discovery amazed researchers around the world, because if humans could harness similar protection, it could revolutionize medicine. It could protect astronauts from cosmic radiation. It could preserve vaccines without refrigeration. It could even help life travel between planets, which leads to a fascinating idea. Some scientists believe that microscopic life might survive journeys through space inside rocks or debris. If that's true, creatures like tardigrades might already be capable of surviving interplanetary travel. Now imagine a distant future. A catastrophic event changes the Earth forever. Cities crumble, oceans shift, civilizations vanish, most species disappear. But somewhere in the soil, inside a droplet of water, a tiny creature waits. Curled in silent suspension, unmoving, patient, for thousands of years, until conditions become safe again. Then one day, water returns. The creature awakens, and life continues, just as it has for more than 500 million years. Because in the story of survival on Earth, the most powerful survivors are not always the biggest. Sometimes, they are the smallest creatures of all. And long after our civilization is gone, they may still be here.